Conversation with Duane Allen, Country Music Hall of Famer and a member of the Oak Ridge Boys. The Oak Ridge Boys went through a very tough time last year, losing one of the founding members, Joe Bonsall, of course, passing away. Duane Allen himself lost his wife. He lost his brother-in-law, who passed away, not to mention the fact that he was dear friends with the Nealons, who died in a plane crash. So it was a very difficult year, and yet the Oak Ridge Boys persevered and continued to tour. And Duane Allen said they were about ready to wrap it up. And, well, I tell you what, let me let him tell you all about it. Here's our conversation with Duane Allen of the Oak Ridge Boys. We're back at the radio seminar, and joining us here, a member of the Country Music Hall of Fame, Duane Allen of the Oak Ridge Boys. It is so great to see you, sir, again. I saw you on stage a couple years ago at one of the county fairs, and you guys are out there doing it one last time, aren't you?
We're doing fine. In fact, I don't know how long it'll go on. Our partners, I have 3 partners in a singing group, and about 2 months before Christmas, they called me up the front of the bus and said, "We want to keep going." And I said, "Well, we don't have any dates booked next year," because I thought we were on our farewell tour, and we were going to kind of wind it up at the end of the Christmas dates. So they said, "Well, we did too, but we've sold out every show except for 2 this year, and people still want to come see us, and we still want to sing." And I said, "Well, it'll take a little bit of work here, but let me get with the agency, and we'll go to work on it." So we booked a couple of weekends at the Grand Ole Opry, and one in January, one in February, and we just worked a date in Oklahoma on Valentine's Day. In March, we go back to work big time. We've got a whole bunch of dates in March, and the rest of the year now is about 3/4 booked, and we've got a bunch of dates that are on hold. We're going to California. We're trying to get around to every place that we've worked over the years to just say thank you. And we hadn't been to California or Arizona or anywhere up the Pacific Northwest. We haven't been to Canada. We hadn't been to Montana. We hadn't been to any of these. We got 4 dates in Montana now that are booked, and we're trying to get to many of these places that we've not been able to get to just say thank you for a wonderful career that we've had decades of a wonderful career, and we just want to say thank you.
Absolutely. Well, and you guys, I think a lot of people thought when Joe passed away that was it. He'll never be replaced, but you did find somebody that could step in and take over for that position.
Well, Joe created such a big vacancy when he left. Joe was our front man, and Joe did so much for the group. He wrote all of our shows. He wrote books. He wrote a lot of the stories you see going out on the Oak Ridge Boys. He was such an integral part of the Oak Ridge Boys, and if I ever needed a vote in our corporation, I would just call Joe and I say, "Joe, I need a vote." He said, "You got it. Now what do you need me to do?" And I'd say, "Well, I just needed a vote." He said, "Well, you got that. Go ahead and do whatever you need to do. Now what is it?" And it was that kind of a partner. You know, I just had his 100% support, no matter what it was. And he would say, "Now, what do you need? You need me some help to get that done?" He was that kind of a partner that you dream of. He was my very best friend. He lived with me 6 months when he joined the group with me and my wife and kids before he could get his family moved. So he was like a younger brother of mine, and I loved him. It was so hard to watch his decline and ultimate death. I lost my wife on Easter morning, and in that 4-month period of time when Joe passed, then I lost 16 people in my family or the Oaks family or people that I do business with. William Lee lost his oldest son. Richard lost his father-in-law on the same morning my wife passed. All 4 of us lost a member of our family. We had a hard year this past year, but we're still standing. And God sent a young man by way of Daly and Vincent he was singing with Daly and Vincent, and we did a show with them 2 years ago, and Joe was already having to use a stool to sing. And we always invite anybody that's on the show, come up and sing with us when we get to Elvira. Well, Daly and Vincent, they got a quartet, so their bass singers helped us out when Richard was sick or something. And we've always figured, we're the two quartets in the business. We have fun with that. So when they come out, we swap leads, and we just have fun with it. They're our best buddies. Well, when Joe sang the first verse and we all joined in on the chorus, he handed Ben the mic on the second verse. Ben started walking the footlights like Joe used to do. And we looked at each other like, are we seeing something here that we need to pay attention to? And as Joe progressively got worse, we talked to Ben, and he said, I would love to come sing with the Oak Ridge Boys. Joe was his hero. We didn't know that. He knew every lead that Joe ever took. He knew all the harmony parts. For 50 years, he knew everything that Joe had ever recorded. All the lyrics to every song, all the harmony parts. He doesn't have a voice like Joe. He's more of a high tenor. Mm-hmm. But Joe's more like a high lead singer.
Right.
And he sings about a third higher than I do. And so that made for a real strong like that. But when Ben sings with the four of us, he studied us enough to know what the Oak Ridge Boys sound is. When he sings with us, it sounds like Joe. And when we put out our album October 15th, I put 3 songs on Facebook, and I got 12 people. The reason I remember 12 is even dozen that commented separate from each other, just out of the blue. Did Joe come in and sing the choruses on these songs with y'all? It sounds like the Oak Ridge Boys sound. No, he didn't come in on any of them. That's Ben. He studied us enough to know how to position his vocal cords to make our sound. And he's so easy to live with and sing with. He's got great harmony, great ear. His wife graduates with a doctorate from North Carolina State this month. They've already bought a house here. They're moving within days.
Right.
And he's ready to go. And I told him, I said, Ben, you're 29 years old. You can't have a career with us. Look at our ages. But I will teach you everything that I know as long as you want to learn, as quick as you want to learn it. I'll teach you the good, the bad, the ugly of this business. And as long as you want to learn, I will teach you everything that I've learned. And he's like a sponge. We stay up at night and we talk about everything. And he's a student already of the business. He's got an old soul.
Right.
And with him in the group, I don't know how long the Oak Ridge Boys will go on. He may keep it going. I mean, I don't really know. I think God will let us know what we need to do, and I don't have any second guessing of God ever, because I've depended on God for divine guidance my whole life. I still do that today, and I feel like when he says it's enough for me or us or all of us, he'll let me know. And I quit worrying about it a long time ago. I'm going to sing. I don't have anybody to go home to now. So I'm going to sing as long as I've got a good voice. I've got a certain level of quality that I have to live up to. And as long as I can meet that of myself, I'm going to keep singing and provide. We've got good jobs for about 24 families that we've kept good job for all of them for, I've been here 59 years. So I'm going to keep that going as long as I can provide good jobs for families. Keep that going as long as I can.
All I can say is you just made a lot of people very happy with those comments you just made, because you do, that fan base, you've seen it firsthand. You have fans that have listened to you all those 50 years, and they'll listen to you as long as they possibly can as well.
Well, our fan base has been tremendous for me. because with all the losses we had last year, I depended on family first, and our friends fell in line, and the fan base was phenomenal. I had people writing to me, sending me notes that I didn't even know, didn't know existed. I didn't know they cared that much. And it just kept me going.
How you guys handled what you did last year and the fact that you're out there ready to go strong again, the people are going to look up to you and they're going to say, I want to do it the way they did it.
Well, there's probably anywhere from 10 to 15 young artists that I mentor any day you call me of the year, probably close to 15 right now, year-round. And I'm in daily contact with a lot of them, and they ask me a lot of questions. I don't charge anything. It's not my payroll. It's passing along. I judge a person's success by how they pass it along. That's a part of my philosophy. And the way I do that in my personal life is how I give financially and how I give of my time mentoring young people. And I have a lot of those in gospel music and in country music. Just young people that come along, like in the hall just now. I couldn't hardly get away from one young person that I ran into in the hall just now. We cut 2 of his songs, Christmas song, years ago, and he's trying to make a go of it again. And the things he said to me just now just gave me all I need to go on.
Yeah, no. One thing, we'll end it on a positive or a fun note. Do you still collect cars?
I sold my car collection except for one, and that's a car that my wife and her sisters toured in when they were singing as a trio. It's a 1953 Cadillac Coupe de Ville that was owned by Duncan Hines. He's from Bowling Green. That's where she was from. And every year, Duncan Hines would buy a new Cadillac. He would give his year-old Cadillac to his wife. Their mechanic that worked on their car got one the 3rd year, and he kept it. And about 15 years later, he called my wife and said, I know your husband collects cars. This is the one you traveled in. And because that mechanic worked with my father-in-law, my father-in-law was a tool and die teacher. And they worked together at Western Kentucky. And my father-in-law and him were great friends. And so he would loan that car to my father-in-law to drive and carry the trio to sing. And he said, I thought your husband might like this in his collection. I was going to have it totally restored. It doesn't have but 45,000 miles on it. And I was going to have it totally restored and sitting in the driveway for Nora Lee, and she passed away. So I've not found the right person to have it done yet. So I don't know what I'll do with it now. I may have it restored and give it to my daughter. I don't know. I've just got the one. I sold my antique car place to a guy who owns a coach company, and he loves old cars. And I sold my last 3 with that property. Had a 48 Rolls Royce Silver Wraith from England that carried Russian czars in it. I had a 50 Chrysler limousine. I had a 49 Packard limousine. And I had a 31 LaSalle that Leon Russell owned. And I forget what the 5th one was. 5 cars went with it.
All I can say to you is thank you, and God bless you. Thank you for keeping it going.
God has really blessed me. He's still blessing me. And when he tells me it's enough, I'll hang it up and go out and fish in my lake and just hang out with a bunch of the things I've collected over the years and listen to my kids sing. And when he's through with me, I'm sure he'll let me know.
Duane, thank you so much.
Sure good to talk with you, and it's good to see you again.
Thank you, sir.
Duane Allen of the Oak Ridge Boys joining us last week at the Country Radio Seminar in Nashville. And that's going to do it for today's Live Wire program, and we're going to close it out with the signature song of the Oak Ridge Boys.